What if the Founding Fathers weren't heroes, but men driven by ambition, betrayal, and power?
Long before the Constitution, blood oaths and dark bargains shaped a nation's soul.
Not all fought for freedom, some fought to keep their grip on power and gold. When the people rose, they called it rebellion. But who really betrayed the dream?
Some confessions were never heard, burned away before the truth could speak.
This land was built not by founders, but some founding fathers bought liberty by selling others into silence.
They built myths. We memorized them.
Welcome to the truths they never dared to print in textbooks. They drafted liberty on paper, while chains clinked just beyond the candle's glow.
Freedom rang inside, but out here, silence held tighter than chains.
They preached liberty from the pulpit, while silencing voices that had always been here.
Truth hid in the dark. Until one day,
They signed in ink, but countless others signed in blood and silence.
forgotten voices never vanish. They whisper, wait.
They sat at history's table, while others carried the plates and bit their tongues. They mapped a nation by erasing those already rooted deep in its soil. Winners wrote the tale, but truth scratched its notes in the margins.
They called it a dream, but not everyone got to wake up in it.
Not liberty, but wealth. That's what truly fueled their revolution.
Simple things. Freedom wasn't universal. It was reserved for the powerful few.
Independence was forged in the ashes of others' suffering.
We the people. But who did they truly mean?
The greatest fear of the founders. The people they claimed to serve.
Free speech! Only if you agreed with them.
A dream for some, a nightmare for many.
Behind powdered wigs were plots soaked in blood.
This story
Truth never dies. It waits, buried beneath their myths.
They wrote of justice, yet denied it to millions.
They weren't invited, but their blood stained every inch of the map.
Behind declarations of liberty lay prison bars and suppression.
Stories of the past still walk beside us, quiet, but never gone. And women, they weren't just ignored, they were silenced.
Not a fairy tale, but a nightmare inked in deception. And so it began. A nation born beneath beautiful lies.
the founding fathers.
Did they ever represent you?
They didn't just fight back like Hound. They orchestrated ambushes that rewrote the rules of war.
In hidden places, they drew battle lines, not just with weapons, but with wisdom passed for generations.
They never told you about the victories that lived in whispers and were etched in the land itself.
While the men carry weapons, the whole family carries the will to resist, both heart and soul. Each fire told a tale they couldn't burn away, of memory, of identity.
Even pushed to the edge, they held on won, not to survival, but to sacred ground.
What they tried to bury became the loudest roar through time.
This wasn't the end.
This rebellion was no longer a whisper. It thundered through every colonial street. The prison doors burst open. Those once silenced rose as symbols of liberty. The wall of power began to crack, and the first blows came from ordinary hands.
No medals, no uniforms, just rage and a will that refused to bow.
By candlelight, they passed ash-covered pamphlets, burning with the words of rebellion.
Across the line stood former kin, now bearing the enemy's flag.
They didn't want thrones. They wanted a reason to rise together.
No one knew who fired first, but everyone knew there was no turning back. War waits for no one. It forges warriors from the unprepared in a single breath. In the flames, they knew no one was coming. They were the answer they had waited for.
In the haze of morning, a treaty was signed, not in freedom, but in the betrayal of blood.
They didn't speak the language, but the betrayal was clear, in every mocking smile and careless ink stroke. Some did not yield. They rose, painted in courage, sharpened in rage.
Flames consumed both sides, but only one would get to right what survived. He saw it all, but in their history books, he was never meant to have a voice.
Oaths were signed in blood, but history was rewritten in the ink of deceit.
They didn't build civilization. They invaded and named their ashes progress. Their maps didn't just erase lands. They erased legacies, breath, and belonging.
The story didn't end. It was hidden in every swing of defiance, and
The silenced had found their voice, and this time, they wouldn't let it go. Blood now stained the cobblestones. Truth no longer whispered, but screamed.
Not all founders wielded pens. Some carved freedom with hammer and grit. They built a nation not from titles, but from bloodlines of belief and defiance.
A lie can last centuries, until the light finds its way in.
That flag flew high, but not everyone it shadowed was free.
No monuments marked their names, just footsteps in the soil of revolution. They never vanished. They were only silenced, until now.
When history calls their names.
Buried in silence, this treaty bound fates, signed in shadows, hidden from the world.
The first signature wasn't Washington. It was someone history tried to erase forever.
They didn't draft liberty, they wrote control. The Constitution was built for the elite.
They raised the walls of freedom, with chains still cutting into their skin.
While the people starved, the founding fathers feasted. Behind doors the hungry never touched.
Truth doesn't live in statues. It hides in bloodstains they scrubbed away. The real revolution wasn't Boston. It began where blood soaked the soil of the forgotten.
A republic was born, but never meant for everyone. Some were written out from the start.
They didn't just write history, they edited it. Truth was carved out by the victors.
Forgotten voices still echo if you dare to listen beyond the silence they left behind.
Trapped between redcoats and rebels, many native warriors faced impossible choices.
They bled for their homeland, yet history forgot their names.
When the muskets fell silent, pens delivered the final blow.
A nation born, built on myths carved in stone.
They penned freedom's creed, with enslaved hands standing behind them.
Not in textbooks, but in the whispers of those time tried to erase.
This story was never just theirs. It was stolen from millions.
From blood and ash, a new truth rises, one waiting to be heard.
You've heard the tale. Now, it's time to question it.
History isn't truth. It's power. Ask yourself, who wrote it?
You've seen it. Now it's your turn, Tandi, to share it. Let's rewrite the stories we were once forced to forget. Together.